The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.
Okay, welcome to the Habits of Health call, Take Shape for Life, Optavia. We are Amber and Jared Smithson, and we are certified health coaches. And we love this call because it's so many different types of people who join us. So we have people who are clients who are maybe in weight loss phase. We have clients who have already reached their goal weight and they are maintaining, they want to learn these healthy habits for life. We have health coaches who hop on, we have health professionals, just the whole gamut. Sometimes people who are just looking into Take Shape for Life Optavia and seeing if it's a good fit. So we welcome all of you to the call tonight. And we are so excited to be presenting on the topic. It's really a mindset topic, and I'm excited to share it with you. So let's see, I'm going to get my PowerPoint going. Bear with me. Which one is it? That one? Okay, sometimes I click the wrong one. Okay, are we seeing that? You can see the PowerPoint, Robin? Give me a thumbs up. All right, awesome. Okay, so before we get into our topic, we thought it might be really fun to tell everybody about a really awesome client opportunity that is going on right now until July. So it's called Optavia Ignite, Your Optimal Wellbeing Transformed. And this is a fun, I don't know if we call it a contest. Is it a contest?
It's a contest with yourself.
That's right. So you get to just create a story surrounding what's going on with your Optavia Take Shape for Life journey. And just so, some of you may not know this, but we are in transition from going from Take Shape for Life to Optavia. And at convention in July, we'll be full-blown Optavia will be our company, which we're so excited about. So what you do is you kind of put your thoughts together. What is my story? Maybe you've lost weight. Maybe your energy is sky high. Maybe your mindset or your relationship with food is better now. Or maybe you just love your health coach. I don't know. But whatever your story is, it needs to just record it. It needs to be 3 minutes or less. Maybe you just grab your phone and you just record it, and it's really simple to do. Or you can have your health coach help you and do it on Zoom, and just anything goes here. 3 minutes or less, submit it by June 15th. And there's some really cool prizes, like you might be able to win a trip to convention to come hang out with your health coach and all the other coaches and clients. There's going to be something for everyone at convention. And who doesn't want a free trip, right?
I want a free trip.
I want a free trip. I like free trips. So talk to your coach and get some more info. But if you go to this bit.ly link, bit.ly/Optavia_ignite, and those capital letters are important too, just an FYI on that. But I wanted everyone to have a little bit of info on that. So let's start. What do you say?
Yep, let's go for it.
Okay.
So we're going to talk tonight about your life in general, right? And we've got a couple of pieces of raw material here, clay and marble. And sometimes we're going to talk about art too. Sometimes you look at raw materials and it doesn't look super pretty, right? That clay doesn't look super pretty to me. It reminds me of when I was in kindergarten, and there's weird kid sat next to me and he was eating the clay and stuff. So it's not always pretty, but it's this great resource that we can visualize what we want to create out of it. And then we have to get to work. We actually have to start to put in some time and effort to create physically what we've created in our mind already. So our lives are just raw materials. We get to choose what we create from our lives. And right now we're talking about, for a lot of people, our physical health journey. And the physical health journey has so much to do with the mental and emotional, our brains, right? Our hearts, our souls are part of our physiology. So it's really important to understand that the first thing is just taking what is, our bodies, where we're at right now in our life, it just is. It's just this raw material. What you want to create, can you visualize it really vividly in your mind? And next, we're going to move on to creating exactly what you want.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times when we want to change something in our life, we get it in our head that we're broken, like there's something wrong. We're not, we don't like what it is and we want to fix it, right? And in chapter 3 of Dr. A's Habits of Health, he talks about this. He talks about when people, they go, oh, I'm overweight, or I'm tired, or I'm sick. Maybe they're on medications and they go, I need to fix that. I'm broken in some way. I need to fix myself up. And then what happens is with our program, you start getting healthier, you start feeling better, you start losing some weight, and all of a sudden what happens to your motivation, right? What happens?
It goes down.
Goes in the tubes, right? Because you're feeling a little bit better. But if you're thinking of your life as this clay or this medium of art, then you're coming from a whole different perspective. And an artist really enjoys the process. They're molding and sculpting or chipping or painting or whatever it is, whatever medium that they choose. And it's beautiful. And the process is fun. Have you ever seen a kid play with Play-Doh? Like, that's fun stuff right there.
Yeah, and you look at these two pictures. I've never chiseled marble personally, but I have done clay pottery on wheels. I actually took a wheel class when I was a freshman in high school, and it was one of my favorite classes because I got this piece of clay every single day, and I got to make all kinds of different bowls and pitchers and all kinds of stuff on this wheel. But when I first started, it was awful, and I was awful because I had to learn how much water to put on it, how much water to put on my hands, and where to place my hands on it. And sometimes I get the wheel going too fast, and then it would get too thin and it would start wobbling. And sometimes on purpose, we would make the clay fling off the wheel, right? And maybe hit our neighbor's wheel and break what they were doing. But it was a process. I had to learn how to use my hands properly, had to learn the speed of the process, stuff like that. But I didn't give up. And if you look at this marble sculptor here, many sculptures, we look at many sculptures today and we're like, it's perfection, right? Like the sculpture of David is, I believe is by Bernini. This one right here, actually, is considered one of the great sculptures. Many sculptures, if you talk to the artist, they made mistakes along the way. Oops, I took off too much rock, right? And it's like, oh, how am I going to change this? And oftentimes their vision is a little bit different at the end than it was at the beginning because something broke. It wasn't a perfect piece of marble or a perfect piece of clay, so to speak. So sometimes it's being flexible and just going with the flow and enjoying the process. And even when there's a little bump in the road, maybe you went off your program over the weekend or something like that, that you don't let it destroy your creation, but that you just keep chiseling away, you keep at the work, and you continue to at the best of your ability, continue to create the vision that you've made in your head.
I love that. And it's like the point is that it's not about that end point. Like that's one of the points here is that it's about the time that you're putting in to create. And if your body is a piece of art and your mind is part of that, by the way,
yeah.
If that is a piece of art, then how lucky are we that we get to do this, that we're not perfect yet. Not your health coach isn't perfect, we're not perfect, and that we're all just on this journey together. And that's really, really exciting to me.
In fact, most successful people, when they get to the end of their journey to create something specific, they get there and they immediately start something else because their joy was actually in the journey, not in the arrival. So, and our health is less of an arrival than a lot of other things, because even after we achieve our healthy weight on the scale, what do you do the next day? You get up and you start all over again.
Yep.
You have to continue doing those same healthy habits, because if you go back to your old habits and expect a different result, then you just achieved insanity, right?
So true. Okay, before we go into some more mindset techniques, I am pretty excited here to bring on Robin Cooper, who is one of the certified health coaches on the team and an awesome client and friend of ours, to just give us a little bit of inspiration tonight and tell us a little bit about her story. Robin, are you there?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So I didn't know you were going to show this picture. I actually felt quite thin on the picture on the left. My before picture, I felt good that day. And so that was really kind of crazy when I look back, you know, at some pictures, and I remember thinking that I was okay and I was healthy, and I really wasn't. And so, you know, I've really struggled with my weight my whole life. And, but there was something that happened to me at a young age that I'm going to share that really kind of ignited my struggles. And so at the age of 18, I was bucked off a horse and was life-flighted. I had a blood clot between my brain and my skull. And the result of this was learning to walk again and learning to function again. And I lost my taste and my smell. And I didn't know right off the bat because I was so sick. But once I realized I didn't want to eat. I didn't want to eat anything. And it was really unhealthy. So my family was worried. And they said, you need to eat, you know, eat. And so I ate. And then I ate. And I still had cravings. And then I ate more. And it really turned into an emotional addiction to food. I still can't taste or smell, but I still have these cravings. And they're emotional cravings. And, you know, this program was such a blessing, you know, when I finally discovered it, because I didn't know how broken, and I know you said not broken, but I really was. I had a lot of work to do. And I just didn't know how severe, I guess I should say, my eating addictions were. And it really took me, I miscarried twins. And after that, I was emotionally broken, but physically I was at a really, really bad, raw place. And I hit the ground and I prayed humble prayers. And you know what? The answer to my prayer was this program. And I thought, oh, that can't be right. That's just that inner voice talking to me. But no, it was. This program has blessed me in so many ways. And it just it gave me a second chance. It helped me out of my deep depression and helped me to learn to cut the emotional ties to food that I really had. I learned how to deal with my emotions rather than eat them away, and using food as like a kind of escape route. And so with the love of my coach, it is what really helped me, because I needed someone to believe in me before I could believe in me. And once those skills were transferred, it was amazing, because guess what? I wasn't at my goal. Like total, I lost 60 pounds. But 30 pounds in was when I decided to become a health coach and pay it forward. And that really helped me to commit myself. And so once I kind of became a health coach, I kind of broke through some more emotional things. And so for me, it was an emotional journey. But physically, I lost 60 pounds. But from ear to ear, I don't even know how much I lost. And so I just feel like I got a second chance. It's amazing. And I'm blessed. This program is amazing.
I love that, Robin. I mean, it's more than just about losing weight, you know, and that's the cool thing, is because it's almost like a nice side effect that happens, right?
The program is so easy that it allowed me to heal emotionally while the weight came off. So at 60 pounds, I looked different on the outside, but on the inside, I was a whole new girl, a confident one.
Awesome.
You know, when you use the word broken, it's interesting that the more I hear that now, I hear, we've been coaching for 8 years, so we hear things like that all the time. And it's really talking about the past. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, something happened to me that broke me, right? And if we live in the past, then history repeats itself, right? And so moving forward, we're not broken. We're like, hey, you're a whole, complete person today. And are you wholly and completely working on creating the vision of what you want for your life, physically, emotionally, mentally, in every way? So I love just, and I love that you decided to pay it forward also, because another coach friend of ours, Jan, actually, I think she was running the client support call earlier tonight. She always says that it's really hard to move backwards if you're helping other people move forward. And so we've just kind of devoted ourselves to that, you know what, we're going to work on creating the future, and there's nothing broken about something that you haven't yet created. So just move forward rather than living in the past, and history will stop repeating itself.
I love that. Thank you so much, Robin, for sharing your story. Truly an inspiration. You notice I don't say motivation, I say inspiration, because motivation is exhaustible, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. Okay, let's see. Let me go back to my slides. All right. So maybe it'd be helpful for some of you on this call tonight to have a little bit of a brain exercise. Did you guys do your exercise today? You may have done your physical exercise, but did you do your brain exercise? So let's talk a little bit about this.
So when you know, one of my favorite statements or quotes ever came from Viktor Frankl, and he said he was a survivor of Auschwitz, horrible conditions, and he said that between stimulus and response, there's space, right? And he went on to, I don't remember verbatim the whole quote, but he basically says that what you do in that space dictates your freedom or your dependency, your emotional damage, essentially. So it's really, and Dr. Anderson talks in The Habits of Health about stop, challenge, and choose. So stopping, just taking a moment to recognize that you don't have to simply react to everything in your life, whether it's with food or with anything else. Our brains are really powerful. We have this limbic part of our brain that is, some people refer to as an animal brain. Its main job is survival. Seek pleasure, avoid pain. Oftentimes we avoid pain by seeking pleasure, right?
That's true.
And so we do those things. Thank goodness for our limbic brain, because otherwise we wouldn't want to eat or drink or procreate or anything like that. So all of us are here because we have limbic brains, right? But we also have this fantastic part of the human brain called the prefrontal cortex, that is where our ambition and our goals and all those things come from, all of our cognition. And so it's important to sit back and say, okay, what is my brain, my animal brain thinking right now? Does it serve me right now? Is it getting in the way of, or is it helping me create what the prefrontal cortex wants and has visualized already?
So the very first thing in Stop, Challenge, Choose, and you can read about this in Dr. A's book. I want to say it's also in chapter 3, but I can't remember everything. If you go to the glossary, you're going to find it. Stop, Challenge, Choose. And so that stop, like Jared said, create space. Think about what you are committed to. What's something in your life you've been 100% committed to? Maybe it's to your kids. Maybe it's to religion, maybe to a spouse, maybe to, I don't know, like I am a non-smoker. I'm 100% never going to smoke a cigarette. Like I am 100% committed to that, would never change. And I wouldn't like go, oh, well, we'll see what happens. It's the weekend. I might take up smoking, or, we're going on vacation. I don't know what's going to happen. No, I'm 100% committed. There's no question in my mind. So think of something when you've been 100% committed to that. And if you applied that same commitment to your health, that may not mean weight loss phase. We're not always in weight loss phase, right? It's not we're not saying you have to be perfect, but 100% committed to your health means that if you, decided to have something that wasn't on your plan, you'd be right back on, like immediately, not Monday or not tomorrow. Not every day starts tomorrow. You'd be 100% committed. And that's what this stop part is, where you just really, what do I really want? What do I want to create? What art am I creating with my health right now?
Yep. Hey, and thanks for having my back, Mike. He put that Viktor Frankl full quote in there.
Nice.
One thing to do that I'll add in that stop is take a few deep breaths when you do that. Really engaging and thinking about your breathing will engage your parasympathetic nervous system, which will naturally calm you, which will help you when it comes to challenge. And here it says, take a deep breath. So take 2 deep breaths, one to stop, one to challenge. And metacognition, that's a big word, but essentially it means our ability as human beings, and it's a unique ability to humans, is to think about our thinking. So step back and simply notice that a part of your brain, that animal part of your brain, is wanting to, or has an urge or a trigger to lead you in one direction that may be a competing value with what you actually want up here in your prefrontal cortex, as far as your ambitions and your goals. So just notice it. Yeah.
Give an example.
So you're at a party and you don't want to offend the host, right? So you feel like, oh, I have to eat everything, right, that they offer me.
You hear that voice.
You hear that voice.
You're gonna offend them.
Is it their voice? No, it's your voice. Right?
Well, it's really it. It's not even the real you. It's just coming from the animal brain. It's going, you're gonna offend them. It talks in your voice sometimes, which can be confusing. But when you step back and you go, okay, that's a thought in my head. That thought says, I might offend that host if I don't eat all of those donuts or whatever. And you can step back and think about that thought and go, that's just a thought. That's not me. What do I really want? What I really want is long-term health, and I want to keep my scale moving this week, or I want to feel good tomorrow when I wake up and not be in a carb coma, right?
One of our, we have a local friend here in Utah. His name's Gordon Bruin. He's a behavioral specialist, and he always says this: whether you feed a craving or starve a craving, it will go away. So you don't have to feed that craving when it says, hey, you got to eat that cookie or eat that cake or pizza or whatever the trigger is for you. You don't have to eat it in order for it to go away. It's just a mental craving.
So here's a little fun example of once you notice something, you keep noticing it. I want you to look at the FedEx logo here. Do you notice the arrow between the E and the X? Do you see that? Is that showing up? Put a little like yes or no in the chat if you see the arrow in the X. Okay, a lot of people are seeing it now. Oh, we got one no. Okay, now every time you see the FedEx logo, literally, you will see this arrow. You won't be able to not see it again. And the same thing happens when you start noticing your thoughts. When you go, oh, I just thought that I would offend that host. That's interesting. Like I just made that up. How about making up something that actually serves you?
Yeah, so these affirmations come from Og Mandino, from the 10 Scrolls. And we love them, and our clients use them, and we use them and stuff. You become the boss, right? I always remember when I was a little kid, we'd say stuff like, you're not the boss of me, right? Well, who is the boss of me? I am. I'm my own boss. So a good statement to start with is, I am not my thoughts. And I kind of do it thinking like I've got a wagging finger, like you are just a thought. Say it with some force. And then Og says, I will command and I will obey my own command. This is really powerful when you become the creator of your life, and you set the rules for yourself and you obey yourself, because you're not obeying somebody else. Someone else isn't telling you you can't, or you can, or you should. You made up that for yourself based on the vision that you have of your life.
And that brings us to that next part. I want to, I get to, I choose to. How many times do we say, I should, I need to, I have to? And those are not empowering statements, not at all. And then the last one is, I will act now. You may consider taking a screenshot of this, but I'll come back to it at the end too, because I'm going to go to the next slide. So the last in stop, challenge, choose. So you stopped, you took a deep breath, you thought about what you're committed to, what you want, you challenged those thoughts, you stepped back from your thoughts and you said, I am not my thoughts. That's just a thought. I want to, I get to, I choose to. And that's where choose comes in, is you mindfully choose. There's no guilt. Maybe you did choose the ice cream or something, but you don't have to sit and be guilty about it, right? Like, choose what you're going to choose. Nobody's forcing you. Your coach isn't forcing you. Your quick start guide isn't forcing you. That was one time I had a client say, I was like, who says you can't eat that? And she's like, well, the quick start guide. I thought that was a good one. Quick start guide is not your boss, honey. But
quick start guide is an inanimate object.
Yes. But I love it. And when you make a choice mindfully, then how do you feel about that afterwards? What's that feeling that comes? It's peace, empowerment. You feel good. That's the kind of good feeling that lasts. Unlike the quick fix feeling that you might get from sugar or other quick fixes like alcohol, drugs. You know, there's a lot of different things that people go to for quick fixes, and that those don't give you that long lasting. And the name of that is equanimity. And that's a cool word. It just means that empowerment, that mindful, that peace.
It's a fancy word for peace of mind, but it's a peace of mind that comes amidst all the turmoil, the struggle, the storms of life. And it really is that peace of mind from making and keeping commitments to yourself. Yep. So it's a really good feeling.
So what happens when you have those cravings? Do this stop, challenge, choose. And keep in mind to don't fight it. You don't have to go, I hate it when I get these thoughts and I get these cravings and what's wrong with me? Like, if you start fighting it, what happens when you push against somebody? They start pushing back, right? And your animal brain is the same way. So be more peaceful and say, oh, well, there's that thought. Yeah, okay, I've heard that one before. No worries. I'm not my thoughts. I want to, I get to, I choose to. And you know what happens? This is the secret. You know what happens is that those thoughts become fewer and farther between and quieter over time because you have new habits that have replaced them. So that's my favorite part.
You know, I had a high school basketball coach that I kind of give him credit for the player that I became in high school and college. And he played Division I college basketball. He was better than I ever was, but he always said to me, he's like, you know the difference between the greatest players in the world and those who are just below? And I said, well, yeah, talent. And he's like, no, it's not talent. He's like, some of the most talented people never panned out. He's like, and he said, the people who were the greatest were the ones who had the highest level of confidence. And he said, confidence only comes one way, and that's through repetition, through doing something over and over and over and over again. So during high school, I said, I'm going to be supremely confident in my shooting. So in the period of about 7 or 8 years, I shot over 4 million free throws because I wanted to be able to step to the line and feel completely confident that it wasn't that I was going to be perfect. Nobody in this world has ever been a perfect free throw shooter. They're going to miss. But I was confident that I had prepared and I had made these decisions over and over and over and over. And when you get that confidence, if you've been making great choices for a week straight and a tough situation comes up, you're like, hey, I got this. I've already made tough choices all week long. So this is no different. So just think about that just repetitiously do things. And over time, you're going to become more confident and you're going to be more competent.
I love that. Well, thanks for joining us tonight, guys. And before you leave us, we would love to invite you to stick around because Jared and I and Robin, we're going to be giving you a little bit of info about what it means to pay it forward. That's one of the other tricks of the trade is as you help somebody else, all of a sudden these things become a little easier for you, a little more part of your everyday routine, a little bit more with your vocabulary. And so we're going to be talking about what it means to become a health coach with OptiBee and Take Shape for Life. So stick around. We're going to be starting in just about 1 minute. And thanks so much for joining us on the Habits of Health call tonight.
The preceding audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Take Shape for Life health coaches or clients. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to healthy living and weight loss will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a physician before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Take Shape for Life team.